We're Malin and Johan, a Swedish couple that have been sailing full-time since 2016. After 3.5 years of sailing, we welcomed our daughter Vera on board. Most recently, we bought a farm in Sweden where we're going to build our dream boat ourselves from scratch. Welcome aboard and please subscribe for weekly episodes. Previously on the show, we opened up the barn to prepare for the operation of taking out the hull and turn it around, which will happen in a few months. The ground outside of the barn was made into a hard pad that will be able to take the full weight of the boat.
Yesterday I was cutting a lot of scarf joints to get all those long strips ready, but today we need to get this hole in the barn fixed, so I have to put all that to the side and get something in place here. The plan is to make a small extension of 2 meters of the barn to make it easier later on once the hull is turned over to be able to work on the transom as well, so we can have the boat a bit outside of the barn here but still covered up. So I will build a small roof, some extensions, and then the barn doors will sit out here instead, just temporarily until the boat is finished. So I will start with this today. I don't have the hinges or all of that for the gates, but at least it would be nice to get the roof up here and some walls. Because there could potentially be rain in a few days, so it would be nice to have some cover for the boat until then.
Johan went to the hardware store to pick up some timber. He got spruce planks, which will be the walls of the extension, and these were already primed. To prepare for the support of the extension, Johan used this giant screwdriver to get the anchors in place. So that one went okay.
Yes. Not so much with that one. There's a big stone blocking it from threading down as it should. So I have to take that one up again.
We're gonna give it another try, see if it comes down now. Let's see if Johan could remove any of those blocks, or if it was a rock that was blocking. Still something blocking?
I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's I mean, I drilled and there's nothing there, but then as soon as I take that drill bit out, there's stones falling in. So
Är det på samma djup igen?
the problem is the clay that sits underneath the gravel. I can't get that to get the grip because the clay is so dense. On that side the gravel is a bit deeper, so the whole screw is sitting in the gravel.
We'll pour some water and see if we can soften the clay a little bit. And if it'll make any difference. Händer ju inget med vattnet. Ser du?
Okay, let's give it another try. It's the same depth all the time. Det var lite mer vatten.
Ja, kommer vi den.
Ja.
Är det igen? Ja.
Ja, jag kan. Smör lite.
Jobbigt.
Yeah.
Heavy?
You have to push it really hard, and it's a heavy machine. But at least it's a lot deeper this time. All right.
There, I got a good grip.
Yes. See if we can get this
seems,
off.
Seems like the water did it.
Yeah, it really helped. Yeah, watch out.
I have the best working shoes on.
Okay.
Oh, it's deep.
Yeah. Save us some time. We don't have to use any concrete.
Both walls were up by the next day, and Johan started installing the beams for the roof. Having daylight for as long as we have now makes it so much easier to work late. The sun set just before 10 p.m. right now, here in south of Sweden.
So the extension is slowly taking shape. I finished with these walls yesterday. There's going to be some rain tomorrow, so the plan for today is to put on some roof. I'm going to use this plastic type of roof, which let through the light. So it will be we'll get some natural light in here, which will be nice. After that, it's time to start thinking about the actual doors here. As you can see, it's a pretty wide opening, so I will try to build the gates in place. Yeah, like I said before, this is a temporary build, but still it's going to be here for the duration of the boat build, which will be around 5 years, maybe longer. so it has to be somewhat sturdy. We could have done this a lot cheaper with just some plastic foil or whatever, like a tent, but this way it will be able to cope with the high winds and maybe some snow in the wintertime. Yeah, as you can see, the roof is pretty flat, but there is actually some slope, so the water will run off it. And the reason I wanted to build it this way is because we want to have the full height of the barn we have in here also in this section. That will make it easier when it's time to start building on the deck of the boat to have that ceiling height also in here. But it's not the prettiest extension, I know that, but it was an easy way to build it.
During this project, Johan stayed out working until midnight every night. With the roof in place, Johan mounted the hinges. The hinges measures 1 meter and will have 2 on each door.
Just finished in time before the rain with the roof. I've started working on the actual doors now, and it will be normal, simple barn doors. Since they will be pretty wide, it might be that we need to have a spring-loaded wheel at the end of them. But we'll try and see how it works out without that first. I tried to build them as light as possible, so the wood that goes on top here isn't very thick. It's only just under 1 inch or 20 millimeters.
We got the most beautiful evening with hardly any wind and 24 degrees Celsius. A perfect day to finish the doors on.
Ta-da! This morning I cut the beams to be able to open the doors, and so far they seem to be working the way they should. Like I said before, these doors are very wide, so of course that stresses the hinges a lot. But so far they seem to be holding up fine, but it could be that we need to add those spring-loaded wheels later on. There are still some things to do, maybe put some paint on these doors, but overall this whole extension and the barn doors are finished now. We just need to also remove some gravel here on the ground on this side, because right now I can't open the door more than this before it catches on the ground over here. But that's not important right now, so we will deal with that later on. Yesterday we got the first rain in many weeks, and there were no leaks in the roof, which was very nice to see. So overall I'm very pleased on how it turned out. Of course it took longer than I first thought it should, as always, but that's just how it is. But this will make it so much easier moving forward to be able to access the hull later on all sides.
all the way around it, especially when it's time to build a transom, but also to be able to get stuff in on both sides of the hull. So the time and effort that we have put into this will make up for itself later on in the build, for sure. But now it's really time to get back building the actual boat. So I'm thinking today I will glue up some of those scarf joints that I cut the other day to get some long strips so we can get back to planking the hull.
That's me telling Johan about the giant spider I found in the garage. When the full-length strips are ready, we will have 54 strips that can go onto the hull. While Johan is finishing the strips, I want to thank you for watching this episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, one way to contribute to this show is to join our Patreon crew. See you next week.